All right, everybody, it's Jake Mace, the vegan athlete. It's the first weekend in June 2015. Let's see what's coming out of my garden today. We're gonna first do all these squashes. I'm gonna try to, it's getting hot in Phoenix, so I'm gonna pick everything that I can see in order to give strength back to the leaves of the plant in hopes that they can take the heat better, because when a plant is producing a lot of fruits like this, it is putting all the energy into the fruit, and therefore the leaves look worse. So if you pick the fruits when they're ready, then hopefully the leaves will look better and the plant will last longer and in the long run produce more fruit for you. So I'm gonna pick these guys right now and I'll come back to you guys in 5 minutes when I'm finished picking all the patty pan squashes out of the garden. Okay, so that's all the patty pan squashes we got out of these plants. Some of them are the finger patty pan squashes. We'll bring those in for veggie tempura, stir fry, and for dehydrating. Next, I'm going to pick out all the tomatoes from my tomato plants because they're ready to be harvested because the birds are getting to some of them. And so the ones like this that a bird has got right there, I'll just take them and I'm going to put them on my solar outdoor dehydrator, let them dehydrate into sun-dried tomatoes. And the ones that are intact and beautiful, I'm gonna bring inside to use for meals, marinara sauce, and salsa. I'm gonna pick all the nice ones first. We have about a dozen different varieties of tomatoes here, all from Suzanne Velarde at velardegardens.com. So if you guys are in the Phoenix area and you go to the different markets around town, you can get Suzanne Velarde's seedlings, which I think are the best in town. Tell her that Jake Mace sent you. And I'll come back to you guys in 5 minutes when I finished harvesting. I'm gonna get about 3 bowls of tomatoes out of this today. What I've noticed in my beds is that harvesting is freaking hard work. So anybody who harvests food for a living, I have mass respect for you. And this is our first bowl of tomatoes we got out of this little one raised bed here. So one raised bed, 16 tomato plants. That's like at least the 10th bowl I pulled out this season. We're already in the first week of June. So that's bowl 1. I'm gonna go dump this out and come back for bowl 2. All right, so we went through our tomato plants. You can see how there's still a lot of slightly underripe tomatoes that will ripen. When it gets above 95 degrees, the tomato plant has a hard time making flowers that then pollinize into tomatoes. But when it's over 95 degrees, the existing tomatoes that are little and green, like these guys, that have already been put off the vine, like this cluster, no matter how hot it gets, it can get 200 degrees, they'll still ripen. So take care of your baby tomatoes, and if you guys put wood chips on top of the plants, they'll survive a few months longer than they would have otherwise. So here's the second bowl of tomatoes, and the third bowl of tomatoes we got, and I'll show you where we're gonna put these. Come on over. So next to my baby tree collard plants is this pepper plant that's been here for over a year now because he survived the winter and overwintered, and he has a really nice ripe looking sweet banana pepper off there. Looks really good, and a bunch of new ones that I'm gonna let get orange and red. So we'll harvest this ripe pepper. Next, we're here in my backyard and we're gonna go to the living wall, which also has some tomatoes. And again, same thing, this is Bird Central out here. So we got some birds have taken about 30%, that's fine. We make an offering and a donation to the birds. And then the rest of them are nice looking tomatoes. We even got some of the Cherokee purple tomatoes that we harvested, most of them earlier in the season, last month. But we still got some really nice looking Cherokee purples in here that we'll pull out. So I'm gonna get to harvesting all the tomatoes out of this bed, and I'll come back to you guys in 5 minutes. Now I've got the living wall on this side, and I'm gonna try to pick some pepper plants and some eggplants to bring more strength and vitality and longevity to the plant leaves. So these eggplants are looking really good, and these ones are the Japanese Ichiban eggplants. They look great. And if I pick these guys now while they're young, they'll taste really good. and the plant will produce more girth and more lush leaving for the summertime to protect them. And these eggplants are called the goatee eggplants from Suzanne Velarde. Look at how cool they are. They have the white stripes and the green. And I'm gonna leave these guys and let them get a little more ripe, because look at how nice they look. Get a little more ripe on there. We got the shishito peppers, and they're supposed to be small like that. They're like good stir fry and sauteing peppers. And these are also from Suzanne Velarde. And then I'm gonna take these little peppers. John Kohler, I know they're not ripe. Don't judge me, I'm trying to pick them now because I can see how the sun is starting to burn a lot of my peppers right there, because these guys bloomed when it wasn't as hot. So my theory is twofold. One, I'm bringing more strength to the plant, and I'll let the next wave of peppers ripen fully to red. And two, I'm trying to harvest these peppers before they rot, because see, the side that faces the sun has started to get burnt, but the other side looks great. So I'll still use half this pepper, and that way I'll save them from getting fully rotted. And the peppers of the next generation will hopefully make it, because they'll be more tolerant of the heat. So we're gonna just start picking off peppers galore out of my living wall, which I have dubbed this year the wall of sweet peppers. And so we're gonna do a pepper harvest here. We got the Yolo Wonder, the California Wonder, Sweet Banana, Pimento, and the Red Cherry, which are really good, these red cherry ones. It's like right now when they're really ripe, kind of shrivelly, loaded with seeds on the inside. That is so good. The sugars are fully ripe and really good. All right, I'm gonna spread the seeds around for next season. I'll come back to you guys in 5 minutes. Okay, the rest of this bowl after our peppers, I'm gonna harvest these eggplants. And this is a cool eggplant bush because I didn't plant this guy. This was eggplant last season, and I tore out all the eggplants. I was vicious and ruthless. And I tore all the eggplants out of here and cut them back way below the soil. But what happened is that the rootstock continued to live, and this guy kept producing out of the old rootstock. So the old rootstock survived, and by himself, he survived my wrath, the wrath of Mace, and he's now producing amazing eggplants again. So I'm gonna harvest the ripe ones and leave the baby right there. We're now moving on to the red Russian kale, because red Russian kale is one of my favorite kinds of kale, but it's also the one type of kale that I've found in my experience doesn't handle the Phoenix heat very well. So every day I lose like 2 more leaves. So I'm gonna harvest all this beautiful kale before it dies. Because every day this happens. 1 or 2 leaves go like that. So I'll either use it as mulch in the kumquat tree, or I'll give it to the chickens or the tortoise. But I'm gonna harvest all these guys, and then I'll eventually just take these plants out, and I'll juice this today. And then I'm gonna plant some Suzanne Velarde Garden sweet peppers in this area this afternoon. Let me take you to our final area of harvest today from our garden. It's my favorite area of my garden this year because it grew up on its own, and it's growing in the ground in 100% wood chip. So check it out. We're at my stream, my river. This is a Royal Poinciana from Seamus O'Leary, which puts off edible pods when it gets mature. And these zucchini plants and squash plants and Bonanza miniature peach plants, trees, curry tree. There's so much diversity in here of plant life, from the water plants to the yerba manza to the lilies to the water nasturtiums to the curry to the zucchini to the native squash, more zucchini, peaches, Royal Poinciana, chocolate flowers, Suriname cherry, the salt bush. There's so much diversity in this one little area. The cattails, and then the koi fish. And so I planted these seeds in 100% wood chips this year, and they're growing in 100% wood chip, so I just keep pulling off. It's been one of the most productive zucchini plants ever, and there's 3 of them. So those guys give off plants like that. This one is that squash plant, and look at this. This is the fourth squash of this size. And this guy is crazy. This is a squash. It's a native, I forget the variety. Maybe one of you guys can post the variety in the comments below, but a native variety of squash. And you guys stay there and check this out. That squash I just pulled out of there was cool. But this one's even cooler because this one is growing in the water. Look at this. This squash plant, or this squash fruit, is growing in the river. And underneath the other side, he's even got some barnacles, like snails, that are hitching a ride on him. And so I'm gonna cut this guy off here and get him out of the water, because he hasn't rotted yet, but I worry if he's gonna rot, but he hasn't rotted yet, and I'll knock these snails back into the river. These are water snails. So that was cool. I bet you guys don't have a water squash like I do. The new variety, Jake Mace water squash. And then last but not least over here, we have more zucchini. More zucchini. There's more gigantic round squashes coming, and then my Bonanza peach tree. I've noticed that the Bonanza peach tree is a late season bloomer, so we got lots of peaches. And we've got peaches coming off these trees everywhere. And these guys are just in their first year, so just wait till they're in their 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 5th, and beyond. Let's head over and show you guys a final look at everything we've harvested today in the past 30 minutes. You guys, I'm pulling a harvest like this out of the garden at least 2 or 3 times a month. So usually every week to every 2 weeks. And this is what you can do in your backyard in Phoenix. Look at these squashes all looking good. The plethora of tomatoes, different kinds of eggplant and sweet peppers. More eggplant, sweet peppers over here with some peaches, zucchinis, red Russian kale, and of course the monster native circular zucchinis, or squashes with zucchini there. And I definitely have enough produce for the week now. Doesn't even include my herbs, my tree kale, my beets, my carrots, and all the stuff that's in my main garden center. This is just one small percentage, maybe 20% of my total garden. I hope you guys like this video. Hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, if you're into sustainability, you gotta do 2 things. 1, you gotta go vegan to save water and land and the animals and the humans. And 2, you've got to grow your own food at home. I'll see you guys back here next time.